When you think about what makes a leader, being insanely smart, strong, rich doesn't necessarily mean you're qualified to be a leader. We've had many different leaders today, not just in the United States, but across the country. And some leaders that are in office, well, they really don't need to be in office, right? And when you look at history, we've had our fair shares of really good leaders and really shitty ones as well. In my personal opinion, I think that Monkey D. Luffy is the best leader in anime, right? And this is only, right, I don't really have much to go off of other than what I'm going to tell you guys in this video, but it's kind of personal preference, right? There's truly no like best. It's really hard to do something like that. So if you guys disagree with me, let me know who you guys think is the best leader in the comment section below. But the reason why I think Luffy is the best leader is what he stands for. The different things that he doesn't really talk much. He does stuff with his actions, and the fact that he influences people, right? He has so much influence throughout the story, right? He's not the biggest guy, where every major opponent that he's defeated, I think they're all bigger than him. I think the closest one to him in terms of size, I guess Rob Lucci, if you don't count whenever he transforms, or I think Crocodile's the second closest to him, right? So Luffy has had his fair share of opponents that are bigger than him, which proves that, you know, it's kind of like showcasing that you don't have to be the biggest dog in the fight to win. He's not the smartest guy in the world, but there's a reason why people follow him, and it's not just the Straw Hats. He has influence on others, which we'll talk about in this video. But if you guys enjoy regular anime content, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys never see a new one. With that away, my name is Potential Alicia. We're going to talk about why Luffy is the best leader in anime. So why do people like him so much? It all has to do with his personality. He has the ability to bring others towards him, as stated by Mihawk in Marineford. And this is kind of going off the rails a little bit, but think about personality when it comes to like romantic relationships, right? A lot of people say that personality over looks, which is true with an actor, right? Obviously you don't want to date somebody or go out with somebody that you don't find attractive or you think it's ugly. However, when you think about personality, a really good and really fire personality can upgrade somebody in terms of how attractive they are. Like if somebody is like a 3 or 4 but with a fire personality, they might actually jump up to like a 6 or a 7. That's just how I look at it. And so Luffy's personality, it boosts his leadership skills because people generally want to follow him. Luffy's actually really different from most of the captains in One Piece, and the reason for that is he doesn't beat his subordinates in a submission. He doesn't rule over them with an iron fist through tyranny and, you know, through fear. That's how they follow him. No, his command isn't absolute. Luffy actually listens to his crew. He allows them to be as free as they want to because, well, that's what he wants to do. He wants to be the freest guy in the world, right? There's the scene in Arlong Park where Luffy, he talks about, you know, his weaknesses and talks about his crew, talking about he can't wield swords, he can't cook, he can't lie, he can't navigate, and he can't do everything alone, which is why he depends on his crew. Where when you look at Luffy and Zoro's first interaction, you know, Luffy, he listened to what Zoro had to say. Zoro talking about, yo, if you ever get in the way of my dreams, you gotta commit seppuku or harakiri. Where Luffy's like, yo, you know, the world's strongest swordsman, the king of the pirates, need no less. He welcomed Zoro's dream instead of like shunning it down. There's Frankie and Dressrosa talking about how he's not going to give up on the Tentatas no matter what Luffy says. Frankie wants to help them, which Luffy was fine with that. There's Sanji asking for permission to attack Big Mom's ship, and Luffy, he agrees to it. And I think the best moment out of all of these has to deal with Jinbei finally joining the crew in Whole Cake Island when he saw the fisherman pirates, they were getting destroyed, and he was like, yo, let me bring up the rear, I can't just leave him. Or Luffy was all like, Jinbei, I'm your freaking captain, right? You do what I say. However, right? Come back alive. That's an order. We'll see you in Wano. That's probably the best moment where Luffy, used his command in order to benefit something or go coincide with something that his crewmate, his wishes, right? So this just shows how much Luffy values his crew's opinion. His crew in the beginning, right, they're not as, I guess, trusting or believing in him as much as they are now. They call him an idiot, right? And they question like a lot of Luffy's acts, right? They still do. However, every member of the crew says and truly believes that Luffy will become the Pirate King. It's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. Where I believe chapter 1060, I believe that's what it is, it best describes his relationship with the crew, where Luffy said his true dream, and well, based off of the reactions, it kind of shows how crazy the dream is. Some laughed, some were shocked. They had different reactions behind it. But because of the type of guy that Luffy is, they want to follow him. Now, saying all this isn't to say that Luffy is the perfect captain, because nobody's perfect in anything they do, and there's always room to improve on something. Zoro talking about, Luffy's weakness, dealing with the whole Usopp situation, saying that he needs to demand respect. And Luffy, he tries to grow and he tries to be the best captain. Look at what happened during the 2-year time skip during the training arc, right? We have Luffy where he went to Marineford, experienced the pinnacle or the highest point of strength with Whitebeard, with the warlords, with Whitebeard's commanders, with the admiral. So Luffy knows how strong and how terrifying the opponents can be firsthand, where he would put his crew in danger if they just met. Right after Luffy lost Ace and right after Marineford, they would get killed, right? More likely than not, if they were to go into a new world, they may, right, survive Fishman Island. But after that, they're definitely ain't being Caesar, definitely not being Doflamingo, and so forth, right? So Luffy says, stop and let's train, right? Where Luffy, he made a selfless decision, where it's selfish because they're separated, they can't meet each other for 2 years. However, it's selfless because he's looking out for the long run and the benefit of the crew so that they can get stronger and they won't die. Luffy's impulsive, right? He's hot-headed, but he does what he believes in, and the crew rallies behind it. Now, this does have, does some good, does some bad, but he does stuff, in my opinion, for the right reasons, right? For example, him punching Charlos, right? Being a Celestial Dragon, not supposed to go against him. However, everybody wanted to do it, but nobody did, actions towards him. However, Luffy was the one to do it, and you lead by example. So stand up for what you believe in, and Charlos being a bad guy, it just shows that Luffy, he doesn't play by the rules, and that he's going to be the main person putting his foot down, showing action, and standing up for what you believe in. The crew has so much respect for him that they're willing to give up their life for their captain. For example, Zoro, when nothing happened, and Sanji, he was willing to give up his life in that moment as well. There's Usopp and Alabasta when they were insulting Luffy. Usopp was like, yo, there's some things that you can't run away from. Then there's Nami, with the whole Ulti situation. Even when she's about to be killed, she stood her ground saying Luffy would become the Pirate King. They respect him, and in turn, he respects them. Where Luffy, he takes on their problems. The crew's problems is basically Luffy's problems, right? With Robin and Ennis lobby, Nami with Arlong Park, and Arlong doing the whole Luffy help me scene. There's Sanji and Whole Cake Island, where it was said by Luffy that I can't become the king of the pirates without you. A good leader goes down with the ship and takes the responsibility of his underlings or his subordinates, right? And also, I think an underrated moment in Whole Cake Island as a leader was Luffy challenging Katakuri, taking him into the mirror world, where Katakuri talks about, yo, so this is a captain's determination, because Luffy understood, right? Katakuri is a problem. Katakuri was stronger, faster, smarter, had better haki, had better Delphi usage than Luffy. And so he understood that if, he ran amok on the ship, everybody's getting in the way, and they're not escaping Whole Cake Island. Then there's also a moment when Luffy is getting beaten up and the crew's like concerned, but Luffy puts on a fake smile in order to, ease their concerns, like everything would be all right. There's also some other moments, not necessarily talking about the crew. I'm rereading Wano. I want to do a true arc review for Wano in the future. I don't know when it's going to happen, right? It's taking me a minute to read, right? I have a life. But there's a scene in Udon prison where Luffy is talking to the prisoners, where he hugs them after they were poisoned. So in turn, Luffy was poisoned, and he did this in order to reawaken the fighting spirit within them. He also inspired Momo to be the leader that he's supposed to be, right? There's also Luffy during the Onigashima raid, where he understood that he wasn't the person, or him and Yamato weren't the people to start the raid. It's for the Scabbers. There's Vivi, right, where she was struggling and Luffy understood that, right? Her not wanting people to die, and he asked her to rely on them. Luffy's a man of little words, however his actions speak high volume. So what makes Luffy a great leader despite not being the smartest, not being the most capable? It's his personality. People rally behind him, right? You don't have to be the biggest, the smartest, or the most capable guy. As long as people want to rally behind you and you can bring people together and do stuff based off your actions, I think that is what qualifies somebody to be a really good leader. But let me know, like I said, who you guys think the best leader in anime is in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.